Hey everyone, what's up? Shadowlance back for another video. You can see I finally got a better webcam. I am using my laptop one that I actually fixed. If you guys remember during my last live update, I told you how I had broken it with a pen needle. I finally fixed it. I actually got it repaired, believe it or not. That was a lot harder to do than you might think. But aside from that, I have another really interesting commentary update video. If you guys have seen the Combat Arms website recently, they have put up a dev blog that says Dev Blog July Combat Arms Reboot Changes. And I will save my opinions for this for the last part, but I want to go ahead and go over everything that they're saying that they're doing, because I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about this. So, first of all, the price rebalance done by a guy named Carl. He's going over price rebalances. Long story short, high rarity items, which they're calling like the better weapons, what we call like better weapons like GP rare, NX standard, NX rare, they're calling those higher rarity items based on how good they are. But even weapons within their own like category, like an Uzi, say they consider an Uzi better than a Mac 10, even though they're relatively the same rank and the same goodness, if that's what you want to call it, they're going to be rebalancing them so that one might be more expensive than the other. They say that they're going to be adjusting prices based on 15 to 50% of the original price. So some of them might have the prices cut completely in half, and other ones might have like only a tiny deduction, if at all. They say that no weapon is going to be made more expensive though. And they're saying this is true of both GP and NX. This is the part that's really weird about the wording. They say that the current NX prices are about the highest prices you'll ever see. In other words, we won't make any items more expensive, but there will be many items that will be cheaper. However, past there, they only talk about GP. They never talk about NX ever again. And I don't know whether that means they're going to rebalance the NX prices and make them cheaper, and if they do, will we get refunds? They don't say anything in this entire post about getting refunded for anything, by the way. This goes for future things as well. So first of all, are we getting refunded anything? Because a lot of us spent a ton of money on this, and now if we're getting like half these weapons that we bought are like going to be half off now forever, are we going to get our NX back or what? I mean, really, that's a lot of money that some of us have spent, so there's that. Even then, GP weapons as well. Also, apparently it says, also, did you know that you'll be able to rent all weapons with GP? And now this, they are very specific with. You will be able to get NX weapons. I'm thinking just NX standard. I don't think you'll be able to get rares, actually, because they go on to say that. You will be able to rent all weapons with GP. Just NX standards, though, is what I'm thinking. I think that's kind of good. I mean, I'm kind of happy to see that, but I'm also kind of upset because I feel like some of us spent a lot of money with that. However, they are very specific about the way they did it, and I'm very happy they did it this way. NX weapons, let me find where it says this. Oh yes, so apparently all NX weapons that you'll be able to get, this is now moving on to the second section of the update called Flexible Acquisition by Blossom. You can use GP for one-day rentals on NX weapons, but don't you dare touch my special collection. I mean, you don't need to borrow something you already have, right? So yes, you can use GP to rent items for 24 hours. However, you can only do that for NX weapons. GP weapons can still be bought for, you know, as usual, with the price slashes that I mentioned before. So that's going to be cool. I think they're heading in the right direction with this, where we actually have access to all weapons. So if you just want to use, like, duels for a day, you can go buy that. I don't know how I feel about that, actually, but there's that. However, it says, oh, and one more thing. You can now purchase permanent versions of all weapons that were already sold for GP. Aren't you pumped? Does that mean I can use these weapons, that I can't use those weapons for GP? But no, you can still opt to rent those excellent weapons for GP if you don't want to spend your NX. So what I think this means, because they're terrible at wording stuff on this, what I think it means is you can now spend NX on GP weapons. However, on these weapons, you can also buy them for permanent. So previously, the Tango 51 was not available for permanent. What I think they're saying is you can now buy it for NX, but you can't buy it for permanent for NX, I don't believe. You can buy it for GP permanent, however, and that's how they get you to play the game. I don't know exactly how they're wording it. It's a very strange wording if you read it, but that's that. And the last thing in the flexible acquisition part, they have now removed black and gray high-sec cases in replacement of this ghost case. It's incredibly strange, but they say you can buy the keys for both NX and GP, so it's like having one case, and in my opinion, it looks way cooler than the black and the gray high-sec keys, and I think this is the way they should do it. I mean, yeah, I'm sad to see black and gray cases go. They've been there since the very beginning of the game, so yeah, I do kind of remember that, but these ghost cases are pretty cool, and it's kind of time they've had a revamp as well. Next up, This is the third part of the update. Item grade and stat display. This is the smallest part, but it is very interesting. Basically, everything that you were able to see before is now going to be redone. Imagine the GUI being redone like when Common Arms 3.0 came out. They're redoing it for the weapon stuff. So when you go and you look at the different types of weapons, like previously in the past, everything's been out of 100. You can have 100 damage, 70 damage, 50 damage on a weapon. Now they're going to make it so that it's something different. However, they are not specific about what they want to do. They just say it's going to be different. And they also say, with that change, we'll also be changing some weapon details. At the moment, damage, fire rate, recoil, accuracy, and portability should be shown in increments of 100. Max ammo and modifications should also be shown in the details. However, now the values you see won't be the modified values, but actual base stat values. So this is kind of like how the Tango is like a one-shot kill all the time, but it's only 95 damage or something like that. So I think they're going to actually change it so we can see what the damage drop-off is. So whenever I talk about that in the reviews that I do, maybe they'll even include spread recovery. I'm thinking they're going to try to actually get something else in there. They even say at the end of this post, the 5 stats you see above may actually be renamed to something more befitting, which is good. I mean, I think that's true. I've even given some of these things names myself. I've seen, ever since I've started making reviews, I've seen other reviewers start talking about damage drop-off and spread recovery and draw speed and stuff. No one ever talks about that stuff. No one started talking about any of that. If you look at Backstar and any of the old reviewers, nobody talked about that before I came on and started doing reviews about that. So I'm really glad they're finally kind of getting attention. Maybe they saw some of my videos. I don't know. But I think it also is part that actually weapons are different enough that they need to actually, value that. One other thing I forgot to mention earlier, with the one-day GP things that you're going to be able to rent, the NX weapons, you're not going to be able to customize them or put on modifications, I don't think. I'm not sure how they're doing that, but it says with the flexible acquisition, let's see, where did it say that? Oh yes, you're not allowed to, since you're renting the equipment, you have to return the goods as is, which means you cannot break or modify the gear. Now, I don't know if that means you can't put on sights and magazines and stuff, but it certainly means you can't customize the weapon. So if you buy an M417 Combat, you can't increase the damage or anything, or whatever the stats that you can increase for that are. And there are 2 more parts to this. There is the equipment evaluation system. This is very simple. I'm going to explain it simply. When you put 2 weapons side by side and you look at the stats side by side to see what's really better instead of having to click back and forth between the 2 of them, which was strange because you could actually do that in CA 2.0, not like intentionally, but you could put them side by side, and since it showed the stats, you could easily compare them just by putting them on top of each other. So they're kind of bringing that back, although it actually is official now, and it's not something that just happens to be there. So they're actually putting that in the game now, which is really good. And the 5th and final thing is, it's simple, but it's good. And actually, it looks like there is a part 6 to it, but it's also not quite as important, so I'm going to break these up into 2 parts, actually, so 5 and 6, actually. So part 5 is the free rotation system. The free rotation system basically says every time interval, every month or so, they're going to give you a bunch of free weapons to use, like on the page, they have it listed as the Scar Tri-Spear, the Scorpion Mod, the Bren Light Machine Gun, the Bushmaster, Smoke Grenades, and M11 Tactical Knife. So it looks like they're including both GP and NX weapons, and even some forged weapons. I mean, if you look at the Bren Light Machine Gun, that's a forged weapon, so that's all good. But it looks like they're trying to get people to try weapons for free. So you try them for a little while. You can't upgrade them. You can't do anything to it. So like the Scar Tri-Spear you can normally upgrade, but you can't upgrade these. You get them given to you for free. You can use them as much as you want and test it to see if you like the weapon. This is an interesting way to do this. I never actually had thought about doing this before. The way I had initially said that they should do it is make like a trial field, like where you could take the weapon, say try out, and it would take you to like the training grounds that you start at the very beginning of Combat Arms, and you could just try shooting the weapon at targets or something. That would have been the way I would have done it. This isn't bad, but it's interesting. And they're in their own set of inventory space called free rotation. If you look at the categories, how you have categories like free rotation, set item, weapon, gear, cosmetic, free rotation is actually one of those things, which is kind of interesting. And there's even a new inventory category for it. Like, you can look in the entire inventory, and it will tell you how much longer you have to use the weapon, too, which is really cool. And the final 6th part is something that I also wanted to talk about. How are we going to get, like, refunded for this? They call it the Progression Revamp Update, and it's also written by Carl, the guy who did the very first one. It's basically these cases that you get when you level up or rank up. They give you these cases that have items and stuff, and it gets better. So they have ones that go for the enlisted ranks, and they have one for the second lieutenant and captain. major ranks, and it goes all the way up apparently, and there's really special ones once you get past second lieutenant. Like all the ones that are before that are kind of the same, but then the ones that you get starting at second lieutenant are different and better, and they look very cool. Actually, the way they're drawn on the site look incredibly cool. I'll put up some pictures of all of this stuff for you guys to see, but I think this is a very interesting system. But they also say, let's see, where did he write this? I want to read this off so you guys can actually see it and stuff. Oh yeah, first we decided to increase the promotion GP of lower rankings so new items are more easily accessible. That's because it was becoming clear that trying to earn GP at lower levels was taking too long. We think that improving the reward from GP from promotions should make promotions more exciting and maybe no longer lose all the time. At least that's what they said. And also, second, you'll now get more items when you're promoted. Before, only basic weapons were upgraded, but now you can experience a wider variety of items in the game. You'll be able to modify and customize a variety of functional items through promotions. Now, that's also very weirdly worded, because function items like EXP passes are actual things in the game. Are they saying we can, like, edit those so we get more EXP from our EXP passes? Can we modify guns more? What do they mean by functional items? They don't explain that ever. Third and finally for this section, there will be rewards for all promotions. Previously, you only got rewards when your promotional badge was updated. What's a promotional badge? But going forward, you'll be rewarded for promotions whether your badge is updated or not. Is that like a bug or something? What is a promotional badge? Is that like what your rank is? Like the little thing it shows you? I have no idea. Because usually you get that upgrades right on the spot when you update, so I have no idea. But now, it says now you'll actually feel rewarded for getting promoted every time. But as far as I know, you unlock new weapons on every single rank now, especially with all the weapons in Combat Arms, so I have no idea what that means either, so that's incredibly strange. At higher promotional ranks, you'll be rewarded with rare guns not sold at shops, so you'll be able to enjoy the game even more. So does that mean we get NX rares or epics or demonics? Do we get cool stuff from that? The way I would see it, it's like the Colonel and LTC ranks would give you like NX rares, and the General ranks would give you like demonic weapons, because I mean it fits the color scheme. I don't even know where I was going with that idea, but the whole point is it looks like everything's being revamped. Things can now be purchased for either GP or NX, and there's no more limitations on the game. The only major limitation that's listed here is that you can only buy NX weapons for 1 day with GP, which I think is fair, because I don't want them to do that like horribly overpowered. And but the thing is, they're probably going to make it pretty expensive, so like 1 day is going to be like 3,000 GP, so it's going to be really expensive. But it also sounds like they're adding more GP to the game, so you'll be able to acquire GP more easily, but it's still worth more. Now, as I promised you guys, my thoughts on all of this. I think this is brilliant. I think they've finally fixed Combat Arms. I mean, I know I'm getting really excited here, but I think this is the smart move from the summer. I told you guys they were going to fix something this summer. I've said it probably half a dozen times that something big is going to happen this summer. This is it, and I think they're fixing Combat Arms. I think this is going to fix it. I really think this is going to fix Combat Arms. The whole pay-to-win thing is getting blown completely out of the water. They've done it. I think they've really fixed it. They're still going to have to go a ways to fix the whole terrible community part, but I think with stuff like this, if things like this keep coming, then we're going to have that go away as well. I think the game is going to get back on its feet, and I think this game is going to live longer than I thought it was going to. A while back, I said this game will be dead within 2 years. I did not foresee this. I would not have guessed it. I didn't think Nexon had it in them to throw away their whole let's be greedy and earn a lot of money. I think what they finally realized is if this game dies, the gigantic amount of money that we make from it is going to be gone as well, and we need to make this game live as long as possible. And honestly, I'm thrilled because of that. It means I get to play this game for longer. I enjoy this game, and I think this is going to be an excellent way to start the summer, end this summer, however you want to think about it, and move into the next stage of Combat Arms. I'm still upset that they removed the ToW system. I still think that was an incredibly stupid move. I think it should have been included within this as a, like, revamp the ToW system, make it better, not remove it entirely. So while I definitely don't support that, I don't know when they're going to be releasing any of this stuff. Obviously, the ToW system is already sort of getting removed. You can't get the NX rares anymore, I don't believe. I wouldn't know. I have all the NX rares on all my accounts, so I wouldn't be able to even test it if I wanted to. But I think it's already been removed. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the rest of this looks like it's going to be coming sometime very, very soon. I know they said it's going to happen before the end of July, so that's less than 9. That's like 9-10 days at most. So yeah, that looks like this is going to be something that really fixes the game, and X is going to be more worth it. Because the thing is, when you increase the price of GP just economically, NX price gets increased as well. So like NX is now worth more because you can do more with it. And when you can do more with something, it's worth more. However, GP is now also worth more. So getting it is going to be, it balances them both out. It's kind of like if here was NX before and here was GP, NX is now here and GP is now here. It's like worth more than what NX used to be, but not quite as much as NX still is. Because NX here obviously can pay like $1.50 for a day weapon, whereas GP you'll pay $10,000 or something. So they're going to balance it, and I guarantee you they will. Hopefully they rebalance the prices of the current cases. $10,000 for one day? That's kind of terrible on those cases, so hopefully they fix that. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Shadowlance, out.